Afraid of email marketing? Don't know what to do? Here are 5 simple steps to get you going. I'm Mike from Sparkler Digital. Let's go. So let's start with a definition of what email marketing is. Email marketing is simply a digital strategy that involves sending an email to a prospect with the aim of either getting somebody to buy something, a product or service, conveying some sort of information, right? And it looks very simple too. Well, you send an email, customer interacts with that email in some way. You send them a slightly different email, and you do this several times. At the end, out pops a customer. But you're probably telling yourself, it can't be that easy. But if you follow a simple formula, it is. So how do you do this? You're going to start with a goal. Now, you could be you want to drive people to your website. You want to increase the number of products you sell. You want to promote an event that's coming up. You want to foster customer loyalty. You need to know what you're doing and do this through strategy, right? What is your strategy? Who is your audience? Knowing who your audience is going to help you design the proper message and the proper timing of that message. Who buys your products and service? Where does your work come from? Who can refer you business, right? There are other questions to ask yourself, but refining your audience will help you deliver the right message. So what is the next step? Well, you create your list. Now, this is a controversy around whether you want to build it or buy it. I prefer buying it. It's faster. But there are downfalls to that. So let's go into building it first. Well, you could build it through existing customer interactions. You can run Facebook ads. You can run LinkedIn ads. You can run Instagram ads to try to get people to a website and sign up for your email with their email address. Or you could just buy it from a list broker, or you could scrape it from somebody who scrapes websites for business to business clients specifically. There's some downfalls to buying it, of course, is you don't really own the names until they actually interact with you in some way. And then you have to give the list back, and you have to certify that you've deleted it from your database. And that, of course, is also a problem, right? So there's goods and bads for both. I prefer, if you have an existing list, use it. But if you don't, I would say buy it. And there are services out there that scrape for business to business leads, specifically scrape Google to get these for you. And they can be pretty cheap. And then there's no worry about owning that list or not because it comes directly from Google. So which brings us to the next thing you need to do is you need to segment that list. So you want to make sure that if there are a variety of different clients you want to get to, that you make sure that that's designated in that list, so that when you craft your message, it goes to those people. It doesn't help you if you're a realtor, for instance, and you have some people who are buyers and some people are sellers you're trying to talk to try to slam that into one list, because that's not necessarily the best use of resources. So that's what a good example of segmentation. Step 3 is to create your message. We use the AIDA framework: awareness, interest, desire, and action. And all this is just a way to write your message to make sure that is going to result in some sort of action, a buying action. So awareness is engaging with a catchy subject in the subject line of the email to get them to open it. Interest elaborates on the benefits and features of your product or service, or attending an event, or the information you're trying to convey, creating interest in that. And then creating at the end or towards the end, creating a desire to intensify their emotional connection to buying that service or attending that event. And then finally, a clear call to action: buy this, attend this, read this, etc. Now, what if you're not a writer? Well, AI. Unlike a web page or a Google listing, uh, people don't care whether or not it was written by ChatGPT or other AI out there. They don't care. And so, I mean, you have to go through your message to make sure it makes sense and it speaks to what you're trying to speak to, but there's no problem in doing that. Now, how do you craft a message in AI? So what you're going to say in ChatGPT, for instance, is you're going to say, write me a marketing email for my business. I'm a realtor, and please use the AIDA framework. And ChatGPT knows what that is, and they will spit out a email message, and then you go through it and fill in the blanks and 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 massage it, and out comes a decent email. And you want to do that for several of the sequences, because essentially when you send your message, it's going to be through an iterative process. You're going to send an email, you're going to be asking for an action, and you're going to send it when people are watching, right? So you don't want to send this out on a Monday morning or a Sunday evening when you know people will come into work the next day and they're going to have a whole bunch of emails they have to go through, and yours is just going to get thrown away because they're going to recognize this as junk. You might want to send it when your audience is watching. So they're going to do something. They're going to either opt into it, they're going to unsubscribe, or they're going to buy, right? Now, most of them are going to unsubscribe or ignore, really. Let's be honest. But that's okay, because you're going to send to the smaller list another email asking for the action in a slightly different way. And you're going to do this, and you're going to do this in multiple ways. We call it A/B testing, and A/B testing. I'll go that in the next slide, but essentially you're going to send them slightly different messages to a group, and you're going to see how they're going to react, and then you're going to reiterate the new message to send out to that same group with the one that people responded to the most. And right, and again, they're going to opt in and subscribe or buy, and most of the people will ignore, to be honest with you. And that's the way it works. But at the end, if you do this 4 to 7 times, people see this, they will either purchase, attend, interact, um, or they'll unsubscribe, or they'll just leave it on there. And there's a whole thing called nurturing, and we're going to go that in a few slides. But what is A/B testing? A/B testing is really just sending one message saying, asking to buy in one way, and then the same message, slightly different, maybe some different graphics, saying the same thing though in a slightly different way this half of your audience, and then seeing who responds to those messages. And if message B in this case is better than message A, you're going to send out message B to everybody. Okay. And what you have to look at also is deliverability. You got to make sure your messages get to your prospects. So you got to avoid spam words in your subject line. You got to regularly clean your list. You got to follow the rules. Now this is huge. There are a lot of rules surrounding sending email. We have something called the CAN-SPAM Act in the U.S. and GDPR in Europe, and essentially they're saying the same thing. They want to give people the option to opt into your email messages. Now, not a cold email message, of course, and opt out. Right? It just depends on where you are in the world. And there are other countries that have existing types of laws around this, but you have to give them a mechanism to do that. And you don't want it to be that they just respond, say, hey, take me off your list. Now you have to respond to those, but at the same time, you want to have a mechanism to do this. And you need to use a service essentially to deliver your email. You can't be just sending stuff out via Gmail. And then constantly looking for customer feedback to improve your messages, right? So let's talk about engagement and nurturing. So you need to regularly engage your customers in your email. So when you have automated sequences, and you see this a lot, when somebody signs up for an email, you get a welcome email, and then another example is an abandoned cart email or post-purchase follow-up emails. But essentially, what you're doing is you're engaging that customer, and going back to sending out email messages on a frequent basis. You might send a nurturing email out until they tell you to stop, essentially, or maybe for a year or 6 months or whatever makes sense in your business. But you want to make sure that you have a regular contact with this person, because when it's time for them to buy your service or product, you want them to remember that that's what you do through nurturing. Well, I hope you waited for this. Step 5 is review results, the analytics. You need to monitor what you're doing. What is your open rate? How many people are looking at your email? What's click-through rate? Are they clicking on the email to take a look at what you're offering? How many people have unsubscribed from your list, and how many people are converting to customers? These are important strategies, and you need to refine your strategy continuously and redo things if you need to do it. Don't worry. It's all that can happen is somebody unsubscribes. It's okay, but refine your strategy. Well, I hope this was helpful. Subscribe and Click the notification bell if it was, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.